French President Emmanuel Macron jolted European discourse on the Ukraine war in a tense, defiant interview with TF1, bluntly stating that Kyiv acknowledges it cannot retake all the Ukrainian territory seized by Russia since 2014. He added, even the Ukrainians have the lucidity to say that they will not be able to resume all that has been taken since 2014. A subtle but significant shift in France's stance on the war's likely outcome. Macron ruled out Ukraine's NATO membership, a stance likely to rattle officials in Kyiv, but argued that Western military backing must evolve. Paris now proposes deploying European troops on Ukrainian soil, not for direct combat, but to serve as a deterrent against Russian aggression.
We cannot abandon Ukraine on its own. As it will not join NATO, we propose its forces of reassurance. That is to say that all the allies who are ready, this is the case of the British, the French, and a few others, to put forces pre-positioned far from the front line in key places, to have joint operations, and to mark this our solidarity.
These troops, Macron explained, would be positioned away from the front line in strategically important places and would engage in joint operations with Ukrainian forces. The goal, he emphasized, is to ensure Russia understands that any interference would mean confronting not just Ukraine, but also allied forces. Macron also addressed the contentious issue of frozen Russian assets, acknowledging that the estimated $200 billion held in Europe cannot legally be confiscated due to the absence of a clear legal framework. He cautioned that if sanctions falter, those funds could be reclaimed by Moscow. In a sobering admission, Macron stated that France has already delivered all it can to Ukraine in terms of military aid, telling TF1, France is unable to increase military aid to Ukraine, and emphasizing that Paris has already contributed substantially.
For our compatriots to understand, we decided to help Ukraine, but never to climb a ladder. We have decided since February 2022 that the Allies, the Europeans, the Americans, the Canadians, the Norwegians would help by transferring weapons, by transferring ammunition, by bringing considerable funding. But we decided not to engage our troops in direct confrontation with a power endowed with nuclear weapons on a territorial conflict.
When asked about a future peace agreement and the status of contested territories, Macron made clear that European forces will not be placed on the front lines. There will inevitably be a line between occupied territories and free territories, he said, signaling Europe's intent to stay out of any future direct territorial dispute. This recalibrated stance follows Macron's high-profile visit to Kyiv alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. A diplomatic show of unity now underscored by hard strategic limits and sobering realism.